Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Horizon Unitarian Universalist Church. My name is Elizabeth Cummings. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I am serving as your worship associate this morning. I'm joined by our worship leader, April Barlow, whose pronouns are she, her, hers. We are excited to welcome you to our worship service this morning. We're so glad to have you with us today, whether you're joining us in person or virtually, whether you're here for the first time or whether you've been here for longer than you can remember. Here at Horizon, we welcome people of all faiths and of no faith in particular. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are on your journey, you are welcome among us. Please be our guest after the service for coffee and conversation in the fellowship hall. As a community, we also welcome the sharing of joys, sorrows, and concerns. You are welcome to fill out a joys and sorrows slip on the table near the Welcome Center, in the pockets of chairs, and on the joys and sorrows table in the front of the sanctuary. You're also welcome to light a candle. This can be done at any time before the service or in service from the beginning through the offertory. We had an announcement from Elliot.
Hello. For those of you who know me, I sometimes play the piano at the church, and many of you have noticed that I haven't played for a while, and I've got some people asking me, why have I not played for the church? And that's because I'm working on something much greater. On August 3rd, a Sunday at 3 p.m., I am having my second piano recital. So if you're interested and would like to hear some very interesting and different music than what you normally hear at a piano recital, then please support me and have some fun. There is a reception with food and drinks, and it's free. Just show up and yeah, thank you.
Our call to worship this morning is from Joanne Giannino. We light this chalice in honor of life's sacred dance of living and dying. May its flame remind us of those who have passed to us fragments of holiness. May it remind us that we too are participants in the dance.
Our chalice lighting this morning is from Brian C. Lee. We light our chalice as a symbol of the light within us and the life that flows through the world around us. It is our beacon as we search for truth. It is the warmth in our hearts for love, and it is the energy that propels us to action. May we be kindled by our time together. Please join me in our affirmation, which is printed on the back of your order of service and projected on the screen. Love is the doctrine of our church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humanity in harmony with the earth. Thus do we covenant together. I invite you to rise in body or in spirit and join us in singing our opening hymn, hymn number 1001 in the Teal Hymnal.
Listen more often to things than to beings. Listen more often to things than to beings. 'Tis the ancestors' breath when the fire's voice is heard. 'Tis the ancestors' breath in the voice of the waters. Ah, shh, shh. Those who have died have never, never left. The dead are not under the earth. They are in the rustling trees. They are in the groaning woods. They are in the crying grass. They are in the moaning rocks. The dead are not under the earth. So listen more often to things than to beings. Listen more often to things than to beings. 'Tis the ancestors' breath when the fire's voice is heard. 'Tis the ancestors' breath in the voice of the waters. Zah, shh, shh. Those who have died have never, never left. The dead haven't impacted the living. They are in the woman's breast. They are in the wailing child. They are with us in our homes. They are with us in this crowd. The dead have a pact with the living. So listen more often to things than to beings. Listen more often to things than to beings. 'Tis the ancestors' breath when the fire's voice is heard. 'Tis the ancestors' breath in the voice of the waters. Zah, shh, shh, zah, shh, shh.
Horizon works with organizations in the local community to help people in need. And some of the ways we do that are by partnering with MetroCrest Services, and we always bring things for their pantry. The kinds of things they need are shelf-stable food items, personal care products, and especially menstrual hygiene items and items for babies. And they can always be deposited in the basket here or in the lobby. And we also have a little free pantry in our parking lot. And right now, the weather is hot, so we look for things that will not be adversely affected by the heat. And those kind of things could be dry milk, powdered drinks, oatmeal packets, those kinds of things. So thank you so much for your generosity. Oh, I hope you love this book I have to share with you today. It's called The Invisible String. And you can see, when you see this, you'll see I have an old version. This is one of the books that we always read to our children. It's because it highlights how we are interconnected with everyone and everything, past, present, and future. The Invisible String by Patricia Karst. Liza and Jeremy, the twins, were asleep one calm and quiet night. Suddenly, it began to rain very hard. Thunder rumbled until it got so loud it woke them up. "Mommy, Mommy," they cried out as they ran to her. "Don't worry, you two. It's just the storm making all that noise. Go back to bed." "We want to stay close to you," said Jeremy. "We're scared." Mom said, "You know, we're always together no matter what." "But how can we be together when you're out there and we're in bed?" said Liza. Mom held something right in front of them and said, "This is how." Rubbing their sleepy eyes, the twins came closer to see what Mom was holding. "I was about your age when my mommy first told me about the invisible string." "I don't see a string," said Jeremy. "You don't need to see the invisible string. People who love each other are always connected by a very special string made of love." "But if you can't see it, how do you know it's there?" asked Liza. "Even though you can't see it with your eyes, you can feel it with your heart. and know that you are always connected to everyone you love. When you're at school and you miss me, your love travels all the way along this string until I feel it tug on my heart. And when you tug it right back, we feel it in our hearts, said Jeremy. Does Jasper the cat have an invisible string? Liza asked. Sure she does, said Mom. And best friends like me and Lucy? Asked Liza. Best friends too. How far can the string reach? Anywhere and everywhere, Mom said. Would it reach me even if I were a submarine captain deep in the ocean? Asked Jeremy. Yes, Mom said, even there. Or a mountain climber? Even there. A dancer in France? Even there. A jungle explorer? Even there. How about an astronaut out in space? Yes, even there. Then Jeremy quietly asked, can my string reach all the way to Uncle Brian in heaven? Yes, even there. Does this string go away when you're mad at us? Never, said Mom. Love is stronger than anger, and as long as love is in your heart, the string will always be there. Even when you get older and can't agree about things like what movie to see, or who gets to ride in the back seat, or what time it is to go to bed? Oh, that's right, you two should be in bed. And with that, they all laughed as Mom chased the twins back to their beds. Within a few minutes, they were asleep, even though the storm was still making the same loud noises outside. And as they slept, they started dreaming of all the invisible strings they have, and all the strings their friends have, and their friends have, and their friends have, until everyone in the world was connected by invisible strings. And from deep inside, they could now clearly see no one is ever alone. So thank you so much for listening to my book. We're going to go ahead and sing the children and teens out to their rooms today. So let's go ahead, folks.
May your minds be open to new learning. May your lips bring truth into the world. May your heart know love and your hands do the work of justice as you go your way in peace. As you go your way in peace.
Let us take a moment to honor the ancestors of this church, the people who first came together to create a home for liberal religion here in North Texas, who worked to raise money for a building, who sat in committee meetings and created bylaws, who chopped and marinated and baked for potlucks, who painted and weeded and pounded nails and washed countless dishes, who gathered to worship, to learn, to grieve, to serve, to build justice, to transform their lives and this world. We are the recipients of an incredible gift and a beautiful vision. Let us do our part to keep this congregation strong, vital, and thriving for the generations to come. Thank you to our members and friends who give and pledge electronically. If you would like to give electronically, you may do so on the Breeze app or online at horizonuu.org/donate. The offering will now be joyfully given and received. Thank you for your generosity. reading from Constantine P. Cavafy. When you set out on your journey to Ithaca, pray that the road is long, full of adventure, full of knowledge. The Lastrygonians and the Cyclops, the angry Poseidon, do not fear them. You will never find such as these on your path if your thoughts remain lofty, if a fine emotion touches your spirit and your body. The Lastrygonians and the Cyclops, the fierce Poseidon you will never encounter if you do not carry them within your soul, if your soul does not set them up before you. Pray that the road is long, that the summer mornings are many, when, with such pleasure, with such joy, you will enter ports seen for the first time. Stop at Phoenician markets and purchase fine merchandise, mother of pearl and coral, amber and ebony, and sensual perfumes of all kinds, as many sensual perfumes as you can. Visit many Egyptian cities to learn and learn from scholars. Always keep Ithaca in your mind. To arrive there is your ultimate goal, but do not hurry the voyage at all. It is better to let it last for many years, and to anchor at the island when you are old, rich with all you have gained on the way, not expecting that Ithaca will offer you riches. Ithaca has given you the beautiful voyage. Without her, you would have never set out on the road. She has nothing more to give you. And if you find her poor, Ithaca has not deceived you. Wise as you have become, with so much experience, you must already have understood what Ithaca means.
Please join us in our Doxology. The words are projected on the screen.
We now take time to honor the sorrows and joys of this community, knowing that we are all interconnected and that what affects one affects us all. From Alan Gann, on the behalf of Eileen, our hearts go out to Eileen Terrell, whose mother, Helen, passed last week. We light a candle this morning to honor all the joys and sorrows which have gone unspoken and reside only in our hearts. Please join me in the spirit of prayer and meditation in whatever way feels right with these words from Natalie Maxwell Fenimore. After the reading, we will have a space of silence, which will be broken by our responsive hymn, 306, in the gray hymnal, Sing of Living, Sing of Dying. We offer blessings for life and the end of life, blessings for the dying, blessings for the caregiver, holding love and carrying burden. Blessed is the body, youth claimed by death, elder claimed by death. Blessed is all creation moving toward one ending in order to begin again. Let us bless the wake, the gathering, the gathered, Shiva. The food bought and cooked and delivered, whether eaten or not. Bless the toasts, the drinks crashing down throats, the drinks shared with the ground in remembered friendship. Blessed are the stories told with tears and with loud, loud, loud laughter. Bless the hair cut short, the hair grown long in mourning. Blessed is the black for mourning. Blessed is the white worn for mourning. Blessed is the body wrapped for grieving. Blessed is the showing of pain. Blessed is the celebration of life. Bless the ashes, bless the dust. Bless the grave digger. Bless the dirt and the feel of it in the hands. Bless the stones on the grave, the flowers, the headstone, the monument. Bless the inscription, bless the naming of the dead. Blessed are the memories. Bless those who feel hurt and hate, anger and sorrow, fear and confusion, compassion and love. Blessings to our knowings of death. May all be blessed, may all be held. Blessings on life's journey. Amen and blessed be.
Sing of living, sing of dying. Let them both be joined in one, parts of an eternal process, like the ever-circling sun. From the freshness of each infant, giving hope in what is new, to the wisdom of the aged, deepened by a longer view. Open to a deeper loving, open to the gift of care, searching for a higher justice, helping others in despair. Through the tender bonds of living in a more inclusive way, we are open more to suffering from the losses of each day.
A reading from William Butler Yeats. When you are old and gray and full of sleep, and nodding by the fire, take down this book and slowly read and dream of the soft look your eyes had once and of their shadows deep. How many loved your moments of glad grace and loved your beauty with love false or true, but one man loved the pilgrim soul in you and loved the sorrows of your changing face. And bending down beside the glowing bars, murmur a little sadly how love fled and paced upon the mountains overhead and hid his face amid a crowd of stars.
Just yesterday morning, they let me know you were gone. Suzanne, the plans they made put an end to you. I walked out this morning and I wrote down this song. Just can't remember who to send it to. I've seen fire and I've seen rain. I've seen sunny days that I thought would never end. I've seen lonely times and I could not find a friend. But I always thought that I'd see you again. Won't you look down upon me, Jesus? You gotta help me make a stand. Just gotta see me through another day. My body's aching and my time is at hand. I won't make it any other way. I've seen fire and I've seen rain. I've seen sunny days that I thought would never end. I've seen lonely times and I could not find a friend. But I always thought that I'd see you again. I've been walking my mind through an easy time, back turned towards the sun. Lord knows when the cold wind blows, it'll turn your head around. Well, there's hours of time on the telephone line, talk about things to come. Sweet dreams and flying machines in pieces on the ground. Oh, I've seen fire and I've seen rain. I've seen sunny days that I thought would never end. I've seen lonely times when I could not find a friend. But I always thought that I'd see you one more time again. Thought I'd see you once again now. Thought I'd see you, fire and rain now.
First of all, I would like to thank Eileen and Horizon for allowing me to preach a sermon today. My grandfather and two of my great-great-great-grandfathers were ministers. As a devoted pagan, I never thought I would ever follow in their footsteps in any capacity. Amazing things can come to pass when you are a part of this wonderful church. I will be discussing grief, dying, the death of children and adults, and different funeral practices. Please take care of yourself and listen or not based on your own well-being. What I wish to share today is not for everyone. I will now pause for a few seconds to give anyone time to mute online or leave if that feels safe to them. Mad at Betty White? How can anyone feel bitterness when thinking about such a sweet, funny, loving woman? Well, have you ever been annoyed at someone for having something that you wanted in your life? It is a universal feeling, devoid of all reason, and, even more frustrating, is all about you and not them. I am honestly thrilled that Betty White honored us with her decades-long presence. But there is one person in my life that I wished had a little bit more of her longevity. I am here to tell you that your feelings about death can be irrational, unpredictable, and most of all, absolutely human. You and all emotions that rise up within you are valid and worth honoring. We all have had the experience of a loved one's death, or will eventually, if we are lucky to have love in our lives. Even now, I don't want to be known here as only the woman whose mother died, but it did shape who I am and why I am now a part of the Horizon community. When I hear of others losing their loved ones, not every element matches my experiences, but enough resonates so that we all understand each other at some meaningful level. My family was always morbid. My mom used to dissect freshly killed rattlesnakes in our barn, and I would hold up an animal anatomy chart so we knew exactly where the liver was located. We prepared our wills as a family when I was around 20, before I really had anything worth inheriting. We were also excited to sign up for life insurance. Adulthood. Throughout my life, my mom and I would share spooky Victorian images and facts about Egyptian mummies, forensic anthropology, and archaeological sites. We visited cemeteries and shared stories about our ancestors, especially their personal experiences with death. We frequently discussed burial options and which ones we wanted for ourselves. I blame and praise my great-grandfather for this fascination. Although he worked as a shoe salesman once he returned from World War I, he aspired to be an undertaker. I still have one of his books. The Art and Science of Embalming, Descriptive and Operative, from 1896. It's as awesome as it looks. The book is like a Gray's Anatomy for death and different ways to die, plus Victorian transport laws, and even a handy quiz in the back. Although my mom had chronic digestive ailments from the time her two daughters were teenagers, she said that when she turned 65, her body's extended warranty expired. She was too fiercely independent to allow true caretaking, even in that last year when she could have really used it. Believe me, it was a miracle when she finally allowed me to cook her regimented meals of chicken, white rice, cauliflower, and cabbage. I would never inflict that boiled mush, all unsalted and plain, on anyone else I liked. However, she adored my cooking. She even said one meal contained ambrosia cabbage. I doubt even a Michelin-starred restaurant has ever received such a review. Her home became my third space, the only other spot I frequented other than work and my own home. What I learned from her death is that even the best laid plans sometimes must quickly change. She had hoped to die in her sleep at home, but her pain was too much the day before she was admitted to the hospital. Thanks to excellent care and morphine, she did end up passing peacefully in her sleep, which was the goal in the end. Mom loved Christmas music, especially performed by the Robert Shaw Chorale and Andrea Bocelli. On the nightstand next to her hospital bed, my sister and I set up a CD player to pipe in Christmas carols 24/7. This greatly confused the nurses since it was the middle of June. To be honest, I think life would be more fun if Christmas songs were played whenever and for whatever reason, except in stores. Mariah Carey will have to wait her turn for cultural dominance. I also realized that there is no right or wrong way to be present for others, even for different people. I've been told by friends who work in hospice that many deaths occur right before dawn, when it's the quietest and there are fewer witnesses. My mom was so private throughout her life, I had a feeling that she would not want an audience to be there at the moment of her death. As a compromise, my sister and I stayed at her bedside throughout the day, going home at night, so she could go when she wanted. Sure enough, we got the call shortly after 5 a.m. When my mother died, my sister did not want to see the body. My sister wanted to remember Mom as she was, full of life and high knee stepping to John Philip Sousa marches. That was a true and noble choice, and I honor my sister for her decision. I felt the exact opposite. I wanted to thank that body one more time for bringing my family life and nourishment for 40 years. In a more practical vein, I also wanted to make sure that the funeral home picked up the right body and didn't cremate her under the wrong name. That's my mother, Joey Barlow, I had wanted to say proudly, and I did. Sitting with her that early morning, I realized that loved ones, especially women, had done this exact act for millennia, staying with the dead and reflecting on a life in its finality. It was an honor to hold sacred space as my ancestors did countless times before, and to escort my mother out of the hospital room. Everyone who is loved dies too soon. For weeks afterwards, I was so angry at the super old people of the world. Grandma Moses, George Burns, Dick Van Dyke, and Betty White. How dare they get to enjoy decades of seniority when my mother did not even make it to 70? The anger subsided somewhat after I read about Colleen Dewhurst's death at the age of 67. She was a Canadian actress, most famous for the amazing Anne of Green Gables miniseries. Seriously, as an aside, watch that show. It's so beautiful and heartfelt. I wished that Mom and Colleen Dewhurst had lived many more years, but was also happy that they at least had those years. I also realized that growing old is not a virtue only granted to the worthy. It just happens to those who are lucky, dodged some genetic issues, go to good doctors and can pay them, generally take care of themselves, and don't get seriously ill or injured. To paraphrase William Falk, editor-in-chief of The Week, death is a dreadful freedom, especially if you've been a caretaker, or a cook in my case. I suddenly had so much time to myself, I could roast and saute to my heart's content, adding generous amounts of salt and oil. I even started going to a church called Horizon regularly, because I did not have to spend my Sunday mornings preparing bland meals for Mom. To my surprise, I never felt that intense chasm of grief that I'd anticipated. That is probably because we knew that she was fading day by day during those last few weeks. The first lines by William Butler Yeats went through my mind many times. When you are old and gray and full of sleep. Every time I saw the once energized woman randomly dozing off, sometimes during her own conversations. My mother was my best friend. We thought alike, laughed at the same jokes. She taught me how to knit and crochet when I was 9. We watched endless episodes of Knit and Crochet Now and Cook's Country, even though she didn't craft anymore nor eat anything I cooked for myself. I am grateful that she is no longer so stressed out about life, money, completing her lengthy to-do lists, her children's welfare, the outside world barging in on her peace, and politics. I also miss her wit, gallows humor, eagerness to hear about my day, her good advice, and morning texts with endless emojis. Mom's personality was not two sides to a coin, but an intersecting poem, as we all are. The Greek fates are shown as 3 women who spin, measure, and cut the thread of each person's life. There is both comfort and unease with the idea of unshakable finality, where some things will happen no matter what. This is a hot debate in some pagan circles, with detractors saying that the idea of fates guiding your entire life smacks of Protestant predestination, where it does not matter what you do in life because God has already decided where you're going, but still follow our rules in case he changes his mind. However, the more likely and scary world to me is one of full responsibility, where an innocent step can make the difference between my mom's 69 and Betty White's 99 years. That uncertainty is what I call the courage of atheism, to ride that roller coaster of life without knowing if the white knuckle excitement ends with a catastrophic derailment or a smooth, almost boring stop without any assurance about what happens once that ride is over. Throughout history, we have buried, mummified, cremated, left bodies out in nature, and buried at sea. The ancient Greeks left a coin in the body's mouth to pay the ferryman sending the soul to the underworld. High-ranking Norsemen and women were buried in ships, surrounded with personal effects and other precious cargo for their new journey. Much of what we know about history comes from digging up sacred burial chambers and grave goods. In European cultures, as Christianity rose in prominence, fewer and fewer beloved possessions were included. For a time, bodies were wrapped in a simple bedsheet for burial, which is why many ghosts appear covered with a white cloth. For a public service announcement, if you or someone in your household suddenly starts seeing ghosts, especially in an old, leaky house, please have the carbon monoxide and air quality levels checked out. We have more choices than ever with how or where to place the dead. Want your own pyramid or be buried riding your motorcycle? How about getting cremated and having your ashes launched into space, compressed into artificial diamonds, or stored in a Pringles can? Someone has already done it. There are pros and cons to modern funeral options, including costs, religious views, culture, availability, cemetery space, meddling relatives, local regulations, and even environmental considerations. My mother chose cremation mainly because it was cheap and portable. Alas, she never expressed any interest in being turned into a Frisbee. Once we received the call that Mom's ashes were ready for pickup, my sister and I went to a nondescript office where we provided proof of identity and received a black plastic box in return. I then scooped Mom into 2 urns, one for each daughter, using her favorite serving spoon and food scale. I hope I got her weird half. Unless the body had been reduced to bones or dust, transporting one across miles was an ordeal before smooth, high-speed travel. During the American Civil War, a new version of embalming was invented for slain soldiers to come back home, for a fee, of course. Abraham Lincoln himself endorsed the practice to comfort grieving families. His young son, Willie, was embalmed in 1862 before his funeral at the White House. After President Lincoln was assassinated, his body was also embalmed to survive the intense train tour and multiple viewings between Washington, D.C., and his final resting place in Springfield, Illinois. There is nothing like a martyred president to be a trendsetter for the next 150 years. Another Victorian technology still used in funeral practices is post-mortem photography, which is respectfully taking photos of the recently deceased. For some families, that could be the only image or memento a grief-stricken parent may have. I treasure the stories and photographs that I have of young family members who died decades before my mother was born. So, what happens to our consciousness once we die? A part of me really wants to know, but another fears that it is not the way that I want it to be. I dread the idea of simply not existing anymore, while others might welcome that thought. There are many fascinating beliefs that stem from anecdotal reports of children remembering events that they should not have known, cultural traditions, and accounts of near-death experiences. I personally like the idea of reincarnation, mainly because life and its endless stories fascinate me. I also welcome second chances, another choose-your-own adventure that hopefully will be a little bit happier and smarter next time. The life of a pampered house cat would be quite acceptable. I once read a card that summed up reincarnation beautifully, Jesus saves, but Buddha recycles. After Mom's death, my sister and I bought 2 old landline phones and set them unplugged in our bedrooms. Once in a while, we pick up a receiver and tell Mom about our day. When I talk with or without a telephone, I hear her words and her laughing cackle in my mind. I once saw myself walking past a shop window and thought it was her. When did I turn into my mother? How far will this go? Will I end up eating cabbage and cauliflower at every meal? Who will be the champion of vibrant long life? After all, no one can ever replace Betty White. Memories are very sneaky and strike at offbeat moments. I love wearing flannel shirts like she did during her lifetime. I remember her when I reached for a tissue to use as a makeshift bookmark. I constantly fight the urge to keep everything she handwrote, even empty cleaner bottles. I get so excited when I see her favorite author's books for sale. Then remember there is no one home anymore who wants to read them. My mother was a pack rat, but of practical things. The local thrift store has become quite familiar with my car filled with endless wash rags and hand towels. I hope Metrocrest has enjoyed the cotton ball and Dove soap donations, courtesy of Mom. Of all the useful items in her life, the absolute favorite was blue tape. She used it everywhere, especially to mark different light switches and blind pools. I think I have finally removed all of the tape from her and my apartments. When I was still wondering what to do with myself and all this dreadful freedom, I went into the Horizon office and saw that a light switch near the back door that I now enter almost every week was marked with blue tape. I had found my new third space, where our human feelings, including about death, can be irrational, unpredictable, and shared. Thank you for listening. Blessed be.
We extinguish this flame, but not our commitment to welcome radically, love boldly, grow spiritually, and serve courageously. This we do because we envision a beloved community filled with compassion, helping all to thrive in a just world. I would like to invite you to rise in body or in spirit and join us in singing our closing hymn, hymn number 324 in the Great Hymnal, Where My Free Spirit Onward Leads.
Where my free spirit onward leads, well, there shall be my way. By my own light illumined, I've journeyed night and day. My age a time-worn cloak I wear, as once I wore my youth. I celebrate life's mystery, I celebrate death's truth.
comfort. Lighting a candle is somewhat like the beginning of life. If that is true, then perhaps extinguishing a candle is like the ending of life. But death may not be the end of us. We live on in the memories of friends and loved ones. The influence we possessed in life works on moving persons or causes forward. Let us not forget that most candles have more than one life, and so perhaps may we. Amen. Blessed be, and go in peace.